Good afternoon, and welcome to today's Ad Week webinar, where we'll be talking about how to deliver a modern digital customer experience. And we'll be sharing some examples of what marketing innovators are doing today, and also doing that through the framework of the 2022 Customer Experience Trends Report that our sponsors today, Acquia, have put together for us. Again, our webinar today is being sponsored by Acquia. I'm Stuart File, Vice President of Branded Content at Adweek, and I'm going to be your host for today's webinar. Before we begin, as usual, I just want to take a few minutes here and make sure that everyone is familiar with the features of our webinar platform and knows what to expect from today's event. Our presentation should go somewhere in the 30-minute range. Afterwards, we're going to have plenty of time for audience questions. So I just want to urge you, if at any point during our presentation today, if you have a question for our speaker, just simply use the question tool that you should see on your screen, probably right now underneath the video window where you're seeing me. And again, we're going to get to as many of those audience questions as we can following our presentation today. Our presentation, by the way, is going to be a mix of slides and conversation. The slides will be delivered ahead of time. The conversation, I just want to let you know, was recorded at the end of last week. As this is, of course, Thanksgiving week, and probably trying to get our guest speakers on hand live was a challenge, and we knew we wanted to be sure to get them all involved in this. So just be aware. And that'll get triggered as a video, and you'll see that as part of today's presentation. It's not too late, by the way, to have your colleagues come join us today. We'd really love it if they would. If you've got colleagues who are in the office and looking for something to do, or you know that they're going to be interested in this topic, about 15 minutes ago, we sent everyone a reminder email for our webinar. In there, you're going to find a link to the registration page. So grab the link, share it with your colleagues. They've still got plenty of time to come on in, register, and join us live. If they can't make it live, or if you have to leave early, please know that today's webinar has been recorded. It will be available on demand, and we're going to send you a link to that on-demand recording later this afternoon, about 3:30, 4 o'clock Eastern time. As I mentioned, we're going to have a slide presentation, and that's going to have some of the findings from the Customer Experience Trends Report. So if at any point, if you want to download a PDF of today's slides, we've made them available to you. You'll find them in the Event Resources area. You should see that tab on your screen as well. Lastly, as always, I want to remind you about the Adweek webinar calendar, www.adweek.com/webinars with an S. Head on over there, see what webinars we've got coming up. And again, we've got a full schedule through the end of the year, so that's really up through those 3 weeks of December. We're doing 3 of them a week, so see what's coming up. Sign up for an upcoming webinar. You'll also get access to our entire archive of on-demand webinars. So if things are slowing down for you a teeny bit at the end of the year and you want to go pick up on some best practices, see what's coming up, check out that archive, adweek.com/webinars. So let's move on to today's webinar, and let me just very quickly introduce the speakers that we have today. And our presentation, much of this is going to be driven by Lynne Capozzi. Lynne is the CMO over at Acquia, where she oversees all global marketing functions, including digital marketing, demand gen, operations, regional field marketing, events, vertical strategy. She runs marketing there, and she's going to be sharing again the findings from today's study. She will also be in conversation with our panelists, who include Javier Saru, who's the Senior Director of Digital Technologies at Stanley Black & Decker, where he's led the creation of a new integrated digital platform to empower Stanley Black & Decker for marketing and e-commerce growth. And also developed a modular digital experience engine with an agnostic commerce framework that also provides flexibility and a superior customer experience across all of its digital properties. And then we're also very happy today to have on for that conversation Elizabeth Planek, who is the Senior Manager of Insights and Analytics over at J.Crew, leading data insights for both the J.Crew brand, J.Crew Factory, and the Madewell. using, again, the Acquia platform to quickly answer questions about customers and really set their forecast goals as well. So again, we've got really a terrific panel today going through all that as you're going to, and again, we're going to get some of these insights. So as we do this, let me make the transition and bring Lynn up to begin our webinar. Here we go. Welcome, Lynn. Nice to have you here.
Hi, Stuart. Thank you. Nice to be here. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining today. I come to you live. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Glad that you were able to take some time out of your day today to be with us. So I'm really excited to be able to do two things: to talk about our customer experience survey that we did, and I'll tell you a lot about it and a lot about the findings, and then also the conversation that Stuart said that we had last week with both Elizabeth from J.Crew and Javier from Stanley Black & Decker, who I think have some really great insights. And they are in the group that I call Radical Innovators, so Radical Marketing Innovators as well. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Let me tell you a little bit about the customer experience survey. But before I do that, in case you're not familiar with Acquia, just a quick update on kind of who we are. We are the digital experience platform company. Our roots are all around open source, and we were formed by the founder of the open source content management system, Drupal. His name is Dries, and he's our founder. So we have, 1 out of 4 Fortune 100 companies we're proud to claim as Acquia customers. We're about 1,400 employees worldwide, and we like to kind of pride ourselves on the great relationship that we have with our customers. In case you don't know much about Drupal, it is an enterprise-grade kind of digital experience, and that's what our platform is based on, is Drupal. And the thing I love about Drupal is it provides more innovation than any other product. So because it's open sourced, and because there's a very, very large community of Drupal developers around the world, you always know that you have access to getting the best of product and the best of innovation. So, 1 out of 8 enterprise sites run on Drupal. And you can see by some of these numbers here how large it is. And again, I think the number actually worldwide is up to like 1.3 million Drupal developers all around the world. So very, very well known and enterprise grade in terms of its flexibility and power and security. And we help run some of the largest websites in the world, some of the ones that are like one-time events that can't go down, like the Grammys and the Emmys, NBC Sports, the Olympics, the Super Bowl, as well as organizations that may have one site or tens of thousands of sites, like Nestle or Pfizer, as an example. We're also known for I'll call our Marketing Cloud products. And we have a variety of different products: personalization, marketing automation, and we also have a customer data platform product, or a CDP, within our product portfolio. And really, the customer data platform is a centralized, a single source of truth, if you will, for all of your customer and prospect data. And I'll talk more about that, and we'll give some more examples as we go through. But these are a couple of fun facts about our customer data platform. So very robust, supporting many of the largest retailers all around the world. As you can see, we have a great list of all kinds of iconic brands that use Acquia products, everything from nonprofits, government organizations, to some of the largest organizations all around the world. So whether you have one site or tens of thousands of sites, doesn't matter. We provide support and products that help you run your digital experience platforms. So let's get into more about the survey results. And I get excited about it because I am a marketer. And so I love to hear from what other marketers are doing and how consumers think we collectively are doing as marketers, how we're doing. So we surveyed independent company, of course. We surveyed 8,000 consumers, 800 marketers. We got a nice mix between the consumers and the marketers. And you can see the countries that we did all around the world. Australia, Brazil, France, Germany, Japan, Singapore, the UK, and obviously the US. And we did this during pandemic. So it's interesting because we do have a lot of questions that reflect kind of the change in people's digital strategy based on what's going on, what has been going on during the pandemic. biggest thing was that we heard that 94% of marketers reported that their organization changed its digital customer experience strategy over the past 18 months. Now, mostly what we heard is that the digital transformation has been accelerated. So what used to be kind of on the 6-month to 1-year project timeframe has been moved in sometimes to a 3-month, sometimes moved up to a 6-month. So we really saw a lot of kind of dramatic change in terms of their planning and their scheduling and how quickly they were moving to a full digital customer experience. I like to use different examples to show everyone and talk about the great experiences that what I'll call kind of the radical innovators have had over the past 18 months or so. And one example that I absolutely love is an Acquia customer, UNICEF. So UNICEF employed a digital transformation strategy. They entered their journey about a year and a half ago. They have a brand new platform, and the platform allows them to take their regional chapters and launch really impactful initiatives. One of which they did, which I wanted to talk about, was an initiative that they had called the 1 Million Opportunities Project. The initiative was spearheaded by UNICEF in Brazil. And what it did is it aimed to help adolescents find skilled employment and professional training affordably. It required a site that focused on the teen user experience and really high levels of performance. So in less than a year of being live, the project and the initiative was able to reach more than 6.2 million young people, quite incredible. They generated more than 50,000 opportunities for these adolescents in situations of social vulnerability. So, initiatives such as this one really show how critical it is to have a great, solid digital foundation to work with. And they've done an amazing job, super proud of them. And of course, they were able to accomplish this because of the digital platform that they installed. Definitely a radical innovator, I'll say. So I think it's time for all of us as marketers to really become radical innovators and to see if we can talk a little bit more about what does it take to be a radical innovator as a marketer and what does it include. So I like to think that, radical marketing innovators needed to successfully, obviously, retain current customers and to win new ones. And I think it's all about, for marketers, leveraging data. It's all about looking at no-code or low-code tools and getting those tools in the hands of marketers, and also personalization. So let's talk a little bit more about each of these particular areas. And I'm going to use the data that I had from the customer experience survey that we did. So very big number. 96% of marketers say their return on investment from marketing tech tools has improved in the last year. Well, 96 is pretty good because we've done this study for a couple of years, and last year's results actually were in the 85%. So it's nice, actually, that this return on investment has definitely increased from our tech tools. What are the top technologies that marketers are looking at? Well, in the past year or so, they've invested in you can see in the past 18 months, actually, they've invested in these technologies. So 55% have experienced and have a digital experience platform, or what we call a DXP. 50% of people, of marketers, are looking at a customer data platform. And again, the way I like to think of it is the customer data platform is the single source of truth for all of your customer data. It allows you to get all your data deduped. It allows you to have all kinds of information about your customers so that you know as a marketer what is the next best step or what's the next best action I should do as I segment out my customers. And again, I'll give you some more examples of that as well. 45% are looking at a digital asset management software, so they have digital asset management software, as well as content management systems. So both a DAM and a CMS. This 50% in the customer data platform, that number has gone up dramatically in the past 18 months. Previous year that we did it, that number was much, much lower. What industries are telling us that they're adopting a customer data platform? Well, you can see and this really was kind of all industries, and typically size companies or organizations that are kind of like a mid-market type company through enterprise companies. So what used to be was a CDP would only be looked at by the largest of enterprises, but that's not true anymore because now we're seeing much more smaller, medium-sized businesses. I wouldn't say SMB, but a medium-sized business in many different industries are looking at adopting a customer data platform. So you can see kind of the highest was around the healthcare and around construction and property, and very, very popular in retail because there is such large data sets that people have in retail for their customers. I think a great example of this is the luxury retailer MCM. So MCM used the customer data platform from Acquia, and they saw a 3x return from their customer data platform. They were able to segment out their customer base, better connect with customers in both virtual and offline channels, so they were able to accomplish that. They were able to segment out the audience for better personalization, and again, they saw a 3x return from their personalization efforts. The Acquia's machine learning team trained the models over a 3-week period of time, and MCM was actually able to use them immediately across numerous channels. So they're a great example. I think it's very clear that having a customer data platform, pays off in terms of ROI very quickly. But here's the catch. So marketers are still saying that they're hamstrung by their MarTech. 67% of marketers told us that their marketing tools hold them back from being more innovative. And 83% say they struggle to create content that can be rapidly reduced across all of their digital platforms. So that's pretty high. 83% struggle, to create that content that can be easily and rapidly set across the digital platform. So those numbers are still pretty high. So in terms of regions around the world, you can see which regions had the highest concerns. France, the US, and Germany, all pretty close in terms of having the highest level of concern. What industry had the highest concern about being hamstrung by their MarTech? It actually is charities and nonprofits. So they self-reported that they were the most restricted of all the industries. And one of the reasons why marketers report that they feel, restricted by their MarTech is that marketers are reporting that 72% of marketers say they require help still from technologists to create their digital customer experience. So we still, as marketers, we still apparently need help from IT in order to accomplish and build a great customer experience. One of the things that I'm going to go back just for a minute. One of the things I think that's really key about this is that trying to get technology into the hands of marketers to have marketers be more self-sufficient is really critical, right? It's one of the objectives I think that we have is that you want to have your IT organization build infrastructure and do the large enterprise-wide type corporate projects. You don't need them helping you build pages on a website, right? Those kinds of things and those kinds of actions should be in the hands of marketers. And therefore, as marketers, we need tools in our hands that can do that, and we can build on our own. A couple of examples around this is, again, back to talking about some of the wonderful customers that we have is AB and Bev. AB and Bev was able to use our low-code, no-code tools. We have a product that's called Site Studio, and they were able to quickly build their site, and they were able to do this by having those tools in the hands of marketers. They didn't need IT to do this. Marketers were able to create the pages. They were able to create the infrastructure that they wanted. They were able to they actually created a platform that they have called DaVinci, which is a global digital factory. And it allows all of AB and Bev to create their sites quickly and at scale. And each of the various different brands actually can do their own. They can have consistency in look and feel. They have consistency around brand regulations, and they were able to do that. So by putting more of the power in the hands of the marketers, they were able to get to market faster, launch faster, and obviously, still work with IT around the important things like security and platform and rolling things out. But they were able to do that directly, and they had that power, if you will, in their own hands. Another great example, actually, is my own site, is Acquia. So we are, as a digital experience company, I have our own website. I update our website constantly. I went through a replatforming to Drupal 9 not long ago. I had my marketers and product marketers use the Site Studio product so they could build their own pages. They built their own pages. We gave them a little bit of guidance around that, but all the marketers are now able to go in and do their own creations, do their own translations if that's what we needed. And they were able to do that quickly and easily. So again, putting that power into the hands of the marketers, more and more important. Okay, what else? Personalization goes prime time. So on a global basis, 54% of marketers report that personalization is heightening engagement. And you can see the industries that report the most use of personalization. So you can see, not too much different in terms of percentages, but industries from education through healthcare using personalization, because we know the more you personalize, the better response you're going to get. And so we're so happy to see more and more marketers turning to personalization and using personalization to create that great customer experience. Another great case study for the power of personalization is Fannie Mae. So Fannie Mae used personalization to target particular people that were in. They had the situation was wildfires, and so they were trying to be able to communicate, be able to provide loan information to people that were specifically impacted by the wildfires, and they were able to do that through personalization. So through personalization, they were sending customized, personalized messages to those who needed particular information regarding this, and they were able to do that. They had unbelievable amount of percent increase in their site, in users clicking through the content, and they know that direct message was working. A great use of personalization. So how do radical marketing innovators win? Access and unifying all first-party customer data, right? How do you do that? Well, you can do that by using, for instance, a customer data platform. So we know that's keeping great track of your data, clean data, being able to access your data, do analytics on it, do segmenting, make the right choice for what's the next step or next action. That's really important when it comes to the data. Choosing low-code or no-code tools to help empower marketers, that's also critical. Faster time to market, more productivity, better brand building, and really, again, having the marketers be able to do all that information themselves and do all the updates themselves. And, creating personalized solutions, more and more important. So between the data, low-code tools, and personalization, that's what we think helps create radical innovators in marketing. There's a lot more data in our CX report. I just was trying to give you a few highlights as we went through here. I invite you to come and take a look at it and download it. A lot of times I hear from marketers that they've used this information for their own internal use to help talk about how they're building a customer experience and what things are important by industry, by segment, by different types of users. So lots of data. I invite you to come take a look at it. You can download it from Acquia.com. And take a look. And we have various reports for various regions around the world, as well as the global data. So again, so thank you for listening about the customer experience event, customer experience survey. And now at this point, we're gonna play the panel conversation that we had with J.Crew and also with Stanley Black & Decker. So Stuart, I'm going to turn it to you.
Well, I'm very excited today to be able to have a conversation with both Javier and Elizabeth. And so let's start first. I'm going to ask you first to give us an introduction, what you do, what your role is, what your company is. And let's start with Elizabeth.
Thanks, Lynn. I'm a senior manager of insights and analytics at J.Crew Group. This includes J.Crew Factory and Madewell. And I lead the data insights for those brands.
Excellent. Well, welcome. And how about you, Javier?
Yeah, thanks, Lynn. I actually lead the digital technologies practice for a division of Stanley Black & Decker called Tools and Storage. And we basically look after our digital properties within marketing and the e-commerce based solutions.
Excellent. Well, thank you both for joining us. I know it's a really critical time for probably both of you with Black Friday coming up. So super excited about that. A few minutes ago, I just talked about how that 94% of marketers have had to change their digital strategy in the past 18 months, of course, partly because of the pandemic. So could you each talk about what are some of the major changes that you've both made in your organizations in the past year? And Javier, we'll start with you.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. Stanley Black & Decker started a process of digital transformation a few years ago, right? But in the last, I would say, 18 months, we had to accelerate that whole process, right? By being able to grow our presence in the digital space. And to be able to do that, we had to actually change how we created content, how content was made available to multiple areas around the world, and how our own teams were prepared to be able to actually maintain and grow that presence within the digital space.
Cool, thank you. Now, how about you, Elizabeth? What's changing? What's been going on?
Well, no surprise to anyone, the marketing of suits and dresses and occasion wear, desk to dinner, definitely shifted in the past year. So we had a lot of changes from just an overall marketing perspective of Zoom tops and sweatsuits and more leisure wear that, along with a lot of the digital and implementing Acquia, was an exciting challenge to see really how agile we could be.
Yeah, awesome. And I'm assuming you're excited about Black Friday, right?
Exactly. Very excited.
Yeah, I can imagine. Javier, so, you mentioned that you recently embarked on a whole major, digital transformation for your properties. Can you talk to us a little bit more detail about where are you in that process? How are you kind of creating your foundation, and does it impact all of your brands?
It impacts six of our 15 brands within GTS. And we basically started first by looking at, do we have the right ecosystem, right, to be able to grow in the digital space? And obviously, by working with Acquia and the different hosting solutions that your company offers, right, we actually determined that we wanted to go and use Site Factory to be able to actually control the code of the sites in one particular area, but deploy them into multiple markets. So for us, was the best part was, or the beginning was, to strengthen our digital core. We implemented a new digital asset management system, a new product information management system, and then in September we launched our new digital experience platform using Site Studio.
Interesting. So did you do your digital asset management product first, as in that was it a serial process, or?
Yeah, it was all done actually in parallel. So we knew we wanted to. We had obviously these solutions already in place, but we didn't have the right tool set for us to grow. So we said, okay, let's actually work on the foundational ecosystem, which was the PIM, the DAM, and our hosting capability and the digital experience platform. And then obviously with a period of 12 months, we rolled those three solutions. And the first sites went live on September 22nd, right, a month ago or so, right?
Well, how's it going?
So 2 months ago.
Congrats.
Yeah, congrats. How's it going so far?
Really well. We already launched 14 sites for 3 brands. We need to launch 10 more before the end of the year. And then for 2022, the idea is to launch an extra 200 websites with 3 more brands. So that's just the evolution of what we're putting in place right now. And we already started thinking about what else can we actually do with this new platform that now we have. And the hope is to start exploring how can we bring composable commerce to the digital experience platform.
Right. Well, you look very calm, so things must be going well. I love your ambitious. I love those ambitious objectives. That's terrific. Elizabeth, I talked a little bit about kind of our customer experience survey, and the survey showed that the customer data platform adoption by a lot of marketers is really growing across many industries, but particularly within retail. So, what for you, for J.Crew, what business problems were you trying to solve with the customer data platform or the CDP?
Definitely. So we wanted to solve just understanding our customer better and having that customer data be less of a black box, but really built to standardize and also personalize to our customers, our brand. We have customers who have shopped us for a long, long time, and we have new customers that are shopping us for the first time. So really building it out in a way that made sense and gave people the ability to understand customer data and have that be integrated across the company was really a big goal, instead of it being some anything that was too complicated to understand. We were able to build it, and as we built it, help drive that adoption overall.
And so, but by being able to kind of have the insights and the analytics, what was that impact for you?
Oh, huge. We're able to really say, instead of like, oh, well, it would be nice to have this data, we're able to have it and do exactly what we try to do every day, which is make those data-driven decisions and have the data about what's actually happening in the business to help plan a strategy.
Yeah, awesome. Any roadblocks? Any issues or any big challenges?
No, I'm perfect. Everything's great. I think that really the appetite is there, which although there's roadblocks, the enthusiasm is really what keeps it driving forward.
Yeah, that's terrific. That's great. I'm sure we all have roadblocks at certain times, like but you also look calm about it and happy about it. So that's good. It's a good solution for you folks. Javier, when you think about, you had talked to me before about one of your objectives is kind of the idea of creating and thinking about a composable enterprise. So, was the foundation you put in place, both technology-wise and kind of organization-wise, structure-wise, does that help you with that objective around creating a composable enterprise?
Yes, Lynn, that's right. It actually helps, right? And it was funny because I was thinking just about that as we were talking about technology, right? As important as choosing the right technology and technology partners is to having the right team and the right way for these teams to work together, right? So we actually created a new structure of combining IT team members with business team members, creating this marketing technologies group. So it helped us to actually be more collaborative, more quick on our feet to be able to actually make changes. Of course, that was a transition for us that took place during 2021. And now in 2022, we'll be able to actually continue to grow that and define each practice further. So we had to create practices around what is customer experience, right? And what is actually the right way to manage digital asset around the world for people to have access to those assets for either marketing or e-commerce purposes. So it definitely helped to have the right team structure in place. But again, it's an evolution, right? We'll continue to evolve in 2022.
Right, exactly. Elizabeth, what about comment about your team? How critical was your team in terms of your implementation and getting to the business point that you wanted to? How critical is your team in that?
Oh, very critical. And echoing what was just said, that partnership across different pieces of the organization. Customers at the center of everything we do. So you need to make sure we've got those business partners from the tech side, leadership side, marketing, across the board. Really, again, the enthusiasm and partnership is the key to success.
Right. I hear that a lot is kind of that the key is that partnership between marketing and IT and making sure that partnership is there and more critical, I think, than ever before.
Definitely.
Yeah. So so we're going to end on a fun question, and because I always like to end on fun. So here's a question for you, and you need to just kind of answer from your gut, because usually the gut answer is normally the most fun one. So if you could go back in time and invent one piece of technology, what would it be and why? I guess we could say what piece of technology would you either invent or would you want to get rid of?
My God, I'm going to say like cryptocurrency, so I could just have a lot that's a fiscally responsible answer maybe. But one of my favorite technology that I'm always so grateful for is my maps, and then being able to pin different things I want to look at, or restaurants I want to go to, places that I've been. So the GPS technology, I just love that.
That's great. That's awesome. I know. What did we do before that, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, me neither. I don't remember at all.
Just went to the same restaurant every night, I guess.
Exactly. Javier, what about you? Any technology come to mind?
In a sense, to me, I guess the technology that was more representative for what we do today is the phone, right? That allows us to actually have this network effect where now people from each person is connected to one device, right? And then by doing that, they have access to Elizabeth's point, to cryptocurrency, right? To maps, to any information whatsoever. Like, I mean, today and like having fun with people, right? Even in trivia moments, everybody actually tends to actually use the phone to search for answers, right, and be able to be educated and communicated. So I think it was a great addition to the world, right?
That's cool. Well, I thank you both for sharing your stories with us today and for being with us. I would definitely put both of you in the category of very much radical innovators. So I've been talking recently about radical innovators, and so commend both of you for being able to accomplish what you have within your organizations. And thank you for sharing your digital transformation stories with us. And all the best for Black Friday. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lynn.
All right. That was a great conversation, Lynn, and really glad we were able to get all that recorded ahead of all of this. To our audience, we're going to move into taking some questions from the audience. They've been coming in fast and furious during both that session and Lynn's presentation. So we're going to get to that in just a second. Before we get to questions, first off, I want to invite you, if you do have a question for Lynn, related to anything that she presented about the CX research that Acquia has done. We're happy to field all of those. So submit your questions. We're going to get to as many as we can over the next 8 to 10 minutes or so. Just two quick reminders. If you have a colleague who you think would be interested in this topic, today's webinar is being recorded. We're going to send you a link to that recording about 3:30, 4 o'clock today. Feel free to share that link with your colleagues. I'd love to get them involved with some of this as necessary. So once you get that link, share it. Better yet, have your colleagues register right now. We'll send them that link as soon as the recording is available. Also, as you know, Lynn shared some really interesting statistics from the study findings. We are going, if you are interested in getting a PDF of her slides, you'll find them right now in event resources. You should see that tab on your screen as well. Lynn, let's get to some of these questions. You ready?
I'm ready, Stuart.
Excellent. So look, one of the things that we talk about on all of this is obviously we're showing sort of the importance of a customer data platform, having that single source of truth going forward. For many, that requires a first-party data strategy, and that's one of the things that we've alluded to and talked about. Not every brand has a lot of first-party data. So as we go forward in here, what should brands, I mean, now is really the time as we go into this cookieless future and we're changing how we're viewing privacy and things like that, to have that first-party customer data in hand and start going there. So what are some of the first steps that brands should be thinking about to get themselves started?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think a couple of first steps as marketers, like the brands that are doing a great job around being able to, capture customer data and first-party data are the ones that are showing real value to their consumers, to their customers, right? So I think the brands that are getting it right, and what marketers can do is make sure you're adding value. Well, so what does that mean? It means things like, we have great examples of a company like King Arthur Baking, right? So you know what they do? They gather a lot of first-party data because during pandemic, apparently everyone was baking. And so the flour was flying off the shelves and off the digital experience as well. But one of the things that they did is they have lots of experiences online. So you can take a cooking class, or a baking class, I should say. You can take a baking class. They add real value they provide a crisis hotline. So if you're baking and you have an issue or a problem, you can text them, you can email them, you can call them. And by doing that hotline, they're really providing a lot of additional value. So I think the brands that are getting it right are the ones that are really adding a lot of value. And that's probably the first best place to start. Are you providing enough to your customers? Is there anything else you can be providing them so that they're more willing to share their information?
Mm-hmm. I mean, King Arthur flour is a great example for this week. Obviously, exactly. as I'm about to go into pie baking time. Are there anything else? I mean, again, it's not, flour, understanding King Arthur's expertise. They've often had a direct-to-consumer relationship, right? I mean, they sort of started almost as a mail order company. How do you do that even if you're a deodorant company or, you're selling crackers? But I guess there are things you can get in terms of, again, how it's used. continue to find ways to inform your customers, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It definitely depends on the product, but sure, having other ways to communicate with your customers, to share information about the industry, about the product, about something surrounding the industry, about health, those kinds of things, depending on what the product is, of course. But I think there's always ways that marketers can do it.
Yeah, Lynne, as you got all of the results coming in, and again, you've been doing this customer experience survey. This is not your first go round on this. What from 2021, from the 2021 iteration, really sort of like surprised you, or was what you thought was maybe sort of the single most important thing that came out of all of this?
Well, I think there's lots of good data from it, but I think probably the biggest one for me is how marketers, even though our ROI is getting better around our MarTech stack, that marketers are still stymied, still held back because they're not getting as much as they should, and they're still kind of held back because of technology, and they're not getting not getting enough value. Getting better year over year, it's getting better, but still stymied because of some MarTech issues.
What is causing some of those those MarTech issues? I mean, we see the numbers out there. I can't cite it. I think it's Salesforce has a number of different platforms that marketers actually have to deal with today. I'm sure you have some of your own similar numbers related to that. What is the frustration that marketers are feeling on that's ultimately keeping them from leveraging?
Well, I think most people have siloed data, right? They have siloed data within their organization. That means it takes longer to do anything. It takes longer to market to them or to get your customer data, to be able to get data analytics on your customers and prospects. So I think the siloed data is one just huge barrier that is a market a lot of times we have, right? And that's pretty common. That's pretty common that most companies have some type of siloed data that kind of gets in their way. And then products don't always work together. So you're not always, not everyone is open. Not everyone has the open viewpoint as Acquia does. And so sometimes it's tough to tie the data together and the products together. And that's frustration for marketers.
Yeah. Lynne, I think we've got time for one more question. So I'm going to ask you to sort of put on your crystal ball hat. I was going to say, you could put on your turban and the crystal. I could give a really, really poor stereotype here of looking into the future. But as we go through, and again, we're going to look into 2022, right? Where we're looking, where is customer experience heading? And with that in mind, right? What advice might you sort of give our audience of marketers today to sort of how they can sort of really stay and remain nimble to sort of respond to some of the, again, we've seen customer behavior change on like a weekly basis these days. Right. So as we've got customer experience, so where's customer experience going? And then how do we sort of stay on top of that?
Well, I think one thing is really clear. The bar for building a great customer experience is just getting higher and higher and higher, right? We all want the Netflix experience with whatever vendor we're dealing with and whatever brand. So I think we're going to see more and more kind of demands that, a great customer experience is required everywhere. So I'd say that's probably the biggest thing is that's just going to go up. It's going to continue to increase. And if you're not focused on improving your customer experience, then you're probably focused on the wrong things. So, having that focus as marketers to building a much, much better, customer experience, I think is going to be critical going forward. And what are things that people can do? I think it's time as marketers, we ask ourselves, what does that experience look like? Is it a great customer experience? Are your products easy to use? Are you giving the right level of information? Are you protective of your customer data? Things like that. I think there's all kinds of different ways as marketers we could look at, increasing our brand experience and making sure that it's a pleasant experience for people, and make sure you're asking your customers what they think and how the interaction is. There's no better way to find out than to survey them and ask them, right, and involve them in the process.
Yeah, the two words I keep hearing when it comes to customer experience from people who we speak with, number one is convenience, right? Which is, what people a great customer experience is the one that is most convenient to the person, right? Whether it's, free shipping or telling you which videos you'd like to watch, or knowing just a teeny bit more about, your preference of hotel rooms or airline seats. And of course, the second one is frictionless, which is making it ultimately as simple and as painless as possible to actually have the experience, make the purchase, use the product, buy the product. Any other words that you think of when it comes to this?
Probably self-serve. So make sure everyone is binging, content binging, right? And so small forms of content, large forms of content, video. Make sure that you have enough content that's supporting the researcher who's doing it on their own and who's doing a self-serve.
Got it. That's fantastic. Lynn, I want to thank you for, again, sharing the details, putting together that panel, recording that panel offline on some of this, and being able to share it with our audience. And again, taking some time to answer these audience questions. To our audience, just final reminders here for you. Again, check your email. You're going to get that link to the on-demand version. Share it away. Go on into event resources. Grab the slides from today. And lastly, adweek.com/webinars, our webinar calendar. See what's coming up. Sign up for an upcoming webinar. We love having you here. We hope we continue to serve you with really interesting information from some of our sponsors here, and really actionable information for all of you. We just always think that that's what makes our webinars different. Again, I want to thank our speakers today and our hosts from Acquia. I want to thank our audience for taking time out of your busy day, and we look forward to seeing everyone at an upcoming Ad Week webinar. Thank you all. Have a great holiday weekend.